Welcome to the Canadian Institute. It's happy to see you all here this evening for our annual report. I have this light straight in front of me. I don't know if, Jonathan, I guess this is needed? Paragallo? This is needed, eh? It's a pity. Okay. Well, we'll do with it. I'm Jacques Perreault, the Director of the Canadian Institute here, and it's a great pleasure once again to have you all here for this annual report event. Now, before presenting our activities during the last year, let me first sincerely thank the Ministry of Culture and Sports, the General Directorate of Antiquities, the Foreign Schools Department. Very happy to have here with us Ms. Benessi, and the various areas of prehistoric and classical antiquities with which we have collaborated, and of course our many Greek colleagues for their support of our research projects. Our thought this evening is devoted to the fieldwork which was conducted during the 2022 season. It is important to note that the Institute also presents a variety of other activities, promoting Canadian artists in various fields, highlighting the contribution of Canada's Greek communities, organizing academic lectures, and welcoming fellows, interns, and volunteers. All this is only possible with the help of the Assistant Director, Jonathan Tomlinson, and of our Cultural Program Manager, Zoe Delibasis. And I thank both of them very warmly for their help. This year, the Institute also conducted its second summer school session. 123 Canadian students from universities across the country participated in this activity, discovering ancient and modern Greece during a 3-week period. The archaeological fieldwork conducted in Greece in 2022 under the aegis of the Canadian Institute in Greece included excavations and study seasons at the following sites: Cavania, the base of East Attica, Eleon, Callithea, and Argylos. The base of East Attica survey project will be presented in detail by our guest lecturer, Dr. Sarah Murray. The Cavania Archaeological Project was established in 2019 by its two co-directors, Rodney Fitzsimons of Trent University and Matthew Buell of Concordia University. The primary focus of their first 2 field seasons was on the documentation of all visible architectural features. A number of these can be assigned to 3 large independent structures dubbed A, B, and C. Their presence, as well as other architectural and geographic evidence, all combine to suggest that Cavania was possessed of some degree of wealth, political power, and civic planning in antiquity. Current with the architectural study, the team undertook 2 pedestrian surveys in 2019 and in 2021, which yielded some 2,000 sherds. In-depth analysis of this material began last summer. Study of the ceramic assemblage was undertaken by Angus Smith of Brock University and Jane Francis of Concordia University. Both were assisted by undergraduate students. All work was conducted in the Archaeological Museum of Agios Nikolaos, for which we extend a heartfelt thanks to both the director, Krisa Sofianou, and Clio Zervaki for their help, support, and patience. Of the 2,000 or so sherds collected, Smith was able to assign only 80 definitely to the prehistoric era, ranging from the late pre-palatial through post-palatial eras. The majority, 59 of 80, fall into the late Minoan category, amongst which 28 are late Minoan I and 22 are late Minoan III. only a single sherd was assignable to the pre-palatial period, while identifiable proto-palatial sherds were limited to 3 Middle Minoan 2 cups and a scoop. Amongst the sherds datable to the Neo-Palatial period were a number of cups, bowls, jugs, juglets, cooking pots, and pithos. Objects dated to the post-palatial period included a variety of drinking and serving vessels, a stirrup jar imported from Central or West Crete, a shallow and deep bowl, pithoi, and cooking pots. Mention should here be made of a late Minoan 23A1 Kylix stem discovered in the center of Building A, the only late Minoan II material yet discovered along the shores of the Bay of Mirabello, which was most likely imported from Knossos. Because of the poor condition of the survey pottery collected, special emphasis was placed on microscopic fabric analysis. It was also observed that another coarseware fabric, tentatively called Cavagna ware, was frequently observed amongst the prehistoric sherds. This is a red coarseware fabric, so named because it seemed to be more frequently encountered than any other specific type of coarseware cooking fabric at Cavagna. It is therefore suggested that this is a locally or regionally produced cooking ware. The fabric is characterized by small to medium spherical to angular white and gray inclusions, with catalogued examples all coming from cooking pots that range in date from late Minoan I to late Minoan III. In addition, a total of 12 examples of phylitic fabric were catalogued, with roughly equal proportions coming from the late Minoan I and late Minoan dated examples. It is known that major production centers for phylitic fabrics existed during the Neo-Palatial period at Moklos, on the opposite side of the bay, as well as sites further east as Paleokastron and Katozagros. It therefore seems probable that during the Neo and post-Palatial periods, trade with sites in eastern Crete was thriving. 4 examples of granodioritic fabric were catalogued. The rarity of this fabric is unexpected, since the primary source of granodiorit lies just to the east of Cavagna, along the southern shores of the Bay of Mirabello. Reasons for this disparity may lie in ancient trading connections and patterns, but given the nature of the sample, it is possibly the result of unrepresentative selection patterns. France's study of the historic pottery from this site yielded 150 catalog sherds spanning the post-prehistoric through Byzantine eras. Study of the shapes of the Roman pottery from Cavagna revealed an intriguing pattern. There are almost none of the fine decorated tablewares that typically characterize Roman pottery assemblages on Crete and elsewhere. Indeed, the 2019 collection contained a single piece of Eastern Sigillata A and only about 3-4 fragments that represent Cretan imitations of Sigillata shapes. More frequent are fragments of courseware utility vessels. These shapes are all multifunctional and could have been used for the preparation, serving, and consumption of foods. Cooking vessels are more frequent at Cavagna than for the historic periods. They may indicate a function not well served by other classes of pottery. The assemblage of Roman transport amphora is particularly important and can contribute to our knowledge about Roman production and trade in Cretan wine and other commodities. Specific shapes identified include ARC-1B, dating to the 2nd century CE, and MRC-2B, produced in the 3rd century CE. In addition, 3 sherds parallel an amphora of unknown origin from the Sfakia survey, while 2 ribbed body sherds likely belong to Cretan amphora. Storage vessels are also well represented in the Cavagna historic assemblage, as well as a number of other ceramic shapes, lamps, lids, beekeeping equipment, and roof tiles. The microscopic fabric analysis of historic era pottery revealed fairly homogeneous data. The main fabric used is not dissimilar to that identified by Moody for the nearby Wrocław survey pottery. This is a quartz-based fabric with both milky and glossy varieties, somewhat similar to the Cavagna ware fabric. For historic era pottery, only small amounts of granodiorite were recognized. A significant feature of this fabric is its lack of both calcareous grits and mica. Some of the quartz was angular but set amid more rounded and thus worn inclusions. This is particularly the case with cooking fabrics and suggests quartz broken up during manufacture and added as a temper. Variations in the fabrics were observed, some of them significant enough to suggest separate clay sources. In the immediate future, team members will continue to work with and interpret the data we have collected and working towards completing study season goals. In addition, with the help of Dr. Eleni Nodaru of the INSTAP Study Center for East Crete, project directors have initiated a petrographic study of their ceramic material. While it will not only allow to establish a template for the site's ceramic fabrics, but also permit a comparative analysis with samples in the INSTAP database. The ultimate goal, however, remains twofold: the excavation and preservation of this incredibly intriguing settlement and the completion of a regional survey designed to set it within its broader regional, historical, and geographic situation. We now move on to Eastern Boeotia. The Eastern Boeotia Archaeological Project, EBAP, conducted an architectural and geophysical survey at ancient Ilion, located in the modern village of Arma in central Greece, once again in 2022. The site has been excavated as a synergasia of the Canadian Institute in Greece and the Effort of Antiquities of Boeotia since 2012, and is located approximately 14 kilometers east of Thebes, overlooking the plain that reaches to the Euboean Gulf. Much of the work over the last 15 years has been to contextualize the site in Eastern Boeotia from the early Mycenaean period to the Classical Age, and to understand its relationship to its powerful neighbors, Thebes, Tanagra, and beyond. The survey project in 2021 and 2022 was under an independent fieldwork permit of the Canadian Institute in Greece from the Ministry of Culture and led by Brendan Burke. Doctors Brian Burns of Wellesley College, Nicholas Herman of Texas State, and Trevor Van Dam from University of Victoria, and our field school team greatly contributed to the success of the project. The survey project had three research goals: to study and prepare for publication the ceramics collected in the regional survey of 2007-2009, to get a wider diachronic understanding of ancient Ilion, to document architectural remains to the west and south of the Acropolis, verifying early travelers' accounts and our own observations from the initial survey, to conduct geophysical survey around the walls to document their full extent and to assess, if possible, their relationship to the monumental polygonal wall on the eastern side of the Ilion Acropolis. The ceramic study of survey material revealed evidence for activity from phases otherwise undocumented on the Acropolis proper. Most notable are a substantial late Neolithic to early Helladic material from along the banks of the Glaucia stream, an early Iron Age locus of activity, including protogeometric, sub-protogeometric material to the southwest of the Acropolis, and significant quantities of archaic through Hellenistic material in the lower town area. There is a decline in settlement activity from the 1st century BCE to 3rd century CE, and this accords well with Pausanias' omission of Ilion from his travels. The 4th and 5th century CE, however, saw renewed growth, and a fair scatter of late Roman amphora and lamp fragments were found concentrated to the west of the Acropolis. This burst of activity ultimately proved unsustainable, however, and the site appears to have been abandoned for some time after the late Roman period, likely only being resettled in the late Byzantine or early Ottoman period. Noted in our 2007 survey were cut blocks in the fields to the west of the Ilion Acropolis. We returned to this area to understand the extent and nature of these constructions and to place them accurately within a GIS-based map of the region. Our method was to use drone photography and our total station points to map them into a site-wide grid, but to do this, we needed to clear the overgrowth. 3 towers and stretches of a polygonal wall linking them into a continuous trace were documented west of the Acropolis, just inside the course of the Glaucia stream, on the lower slopes of the hill crowned by the modern chapel of Agios Georgios. The first tower measures 9.3 meters wide and projects 5.23 meters from the course of the wall. We believe that, in addition to its better state of preservation, this tower was somewhat larger than the others nearby. The quantity of blocks suggests that they never formed more than the low suckle for a mud brick wall. This assertion is supported by the presence of a dense scatter of roof tiles noted all along its course, and some very large, in some cases near complete, examples revealed during cleaning along the course of the wall. All of the towers appear to be fully bonded with the wall, suggesting that they are part of an integrated design. The wall is faced on the exterior and interior with roughly hewn interlocking polygonal blocks and has an interior fill of rubble. Few datable finds were found in our cleaning, but we did uncover a lamp fragment of archaic date in one of the towers. A lower fortified town at Ilion was noted by Sir William Leakey when he visited Ilion in 1806. He saw walls in many places visible, enclosing a slope to the south and west of the Acropolis. Our preliminary conclusions need to be tested by excavation, but we believe the walls to date to the 6th and 5th century BC, contemporary with the large polygonal wall along the southeast side of the Acropolis. In combination with the topographic study of the walls, we began a program of geophysical survey and work around our excavated trenches, extending to the entire elevated plateau and including areas within and along the lower town walls. This work was directed by Nicholas Herman using magnetometry and ground-penetrating radar. For the Acropolis areas, a total of 2,200 square meters were scanned with the GPR. The gradiometer work in 2022 was limited to the lower town areas. In total, 1.4 hectares were scanned west of the Acropolis and around the newly revealed Western Wall and Tower complex. These areas include several grids that would be considered within and outside the lower town as defined by the wall. Results from our survey are directing a new phase of excavation that has begun this year at the site, and we look forward to reporting on that in the near future. From Boeotia to Central Achaia, with the Central Achaia Phthiotis survey report. The Central Achaia Phthiotis surveys 2022 included 7 seasoned staff members: Maggie Aiken, Gino Canlas, Miles Kikerda, Margaret Hagsma, Sofia Karapanu, Edward Middleton, Adam Wisnula, and 19 field school students. The goals of CAPS are summarized in previous reports, but in short, entails a survey of a landscape surrounding the 4th to 2nd century BCE city of Castro, near the village of Callithea in Thessaly. A short second season took place in October 2022, which focused on airborne remote sensing. This year's goals were to cover a large area by systematic survey in the area north of Castro, in an area with the toponyms Campos and Gogu. In addition, we systematically surveyed a number of very challenging survey tracks south of Castro near the river Inipius. One to two survey teams surveyed over the course of the 2022 six-week field season. Each survey team comprised 4 team members and a team leader. Although survey units generally followed current field boundaries, larger fields were subdivided into 50 by 100 or 0.5 hectare tracts using a GNSS unit. A third team stayed behind and worked in our apotheke in Nathaki, focusing on washing, sorting, and processing the finds. In the afternoons, another team worked on soil samples collected during the excavations of an early Iron Age tholostome in 2019. In 2022, 215 fields or 477 survey tracts were surveyed, covering an area of about 235 hectares. Results once again demonstrated a chronological time span of human activity from the Neolithic to the pre-modern periods. 9,119 pieces of pottery were collected, weighing 398 kilos. Other artifacts gathered, metal artifacts and lithics, the latter consisting of 44 pieces of chert and 13 grinding stone fragments. The number of pottery sherds found this year was substantially lower in number compared to earlier seasons, but they were found in very clear distributions and concentrations. These concentrations of material also often yielded evidence of water management in the form of water channels and cisterns. In 2021, we surveyed the area north of an ancient water channel near a modern horticultural installation with a series of natural springs. This year, we surveyed the area south of it, which yielded no less than 2,000 pieces of ceramic weighing more than 150 kilos. This is all very roughed up, eh? The bulk of the finds dated from the classical Hellenistic period to late Roman, early Byzantine, with a small substratum of Bronze Age material. A very large amount of material represented remains of storage vessels. Together with the grinding stones and the wide distribution of the finds over the area, it is likely that this area represents a habitation site with strong ties to agricultural activities. The other concentrations of material were located in the vicinity of another cistern and a number of fields northwest of the Castro near a modern castle farm, where we already found distinct late Roman material in 2019. In units 4592, 4598, located north of Castro, a large amount of Hellenistic material was discovered, which may represent the remains of a small farmstead. The fields south of Castro are lying in between uncultivated areas without water sources. They are located far apart and are distributed over a wide range of elevations as the terrain slopes downward from the Castro to the Ipinius River. These fields have clearly been left fallow for a few years in anticipation of the construction of solar panels. Visibility was therefore problematic. Most of the fields in this location yielded no material at all, but a number of them, units 419 and 4041, yielded a concentration of roof tiles of Hellenistic date, pointing to possible local agricultural or funerary activity. In all, we can see that most of the finds are located closer to the Castro, confirming our hypothesis that finds are distributed in the form of a halo around the northern part of the Castro. In the areas further away, the amount of background noise is low, and in some areas even completely absent. The least amount of finds was found in the northern extent of the survey, with the exception of the area around the early Neolithic Magula, discovered during our 2021 season. As part of our extensive survey, the team also checked a number of other areas with the potential presence of architecture. This year we found the hitherto unreported Round Hill Fortress, located 1 kilometer north of the Magula-like settlement at Castraki Arabisis. The hill fortress is covered in shrub. It measures 130 by 116 meters and was completely depleted of material. The fortifications are characterized by very large, elongated, lightly worked limestone slabs, 0.5 meter wide, and stacked up up to 2 stones high. With this new discovery, the area of Arabisis has now 2 sites, one multi-period fortified settlement on a low hill next to the Kotsilorema, which we surveyed in 2019, named Castraki, and a fortified hill 1 kilometer north of it. From October 6 to 16, 2022, Nelson Matty, a PhD student at the University of Alberta, flew a drone with LIDAR and multispectral sensors over the Neolithic Magula we reported on last year, and a number of other areas we have identified as significant, including newly discovered fortified site near Arabisis. The high-resolution LIDAR data have given us better information on the architecture on the slope of the Castro and elsewhere, while the multispectral data will inform us about site size and morphology in plow zones, such as the Neolithic Magula. Analysis of the LIDAR and multispectral data has not yet been finalized, but we can already say that due to the very dry circumstances this past October, the known patterns of ditches at the Neolithic Magula were only partly detectable. Testing when to fly best with this equipment necessitates trying it out in different seasons. And now we pass to Argylos. And you know I'm very happy because I'm going to be able to speak French. La mission d'Argylos a repris ses activités de terrain à l'été 2022 avec une campagne de fouilles de 6 semaines, grâce à l'appui de l'Ephorie des antiquités préhistoriques et classiques de Cérès, du personnel du musée d'Amphipolis, de l'équipe d'archéologues et d'ouvriers, ainsi que de la participation d'une 50aine d'étudiants. Les fouilles se sont concentrées dans le secteur Koutloudis et sur le plateau Angelopoulos. Dans le secteur Koutloudis, les recherches ont repris sur le bâtiment commercial P et les unités d'habitation du complexe Q. 7 unités ont été partiellement fouillées. Les boutiques P2 et P8 ont malheureusement livré peu de matériel, mais P8 offre toutefois un intérêt au niveau de l'architecture, car c'est la seule à comporter 3 ouvertures, 2 à l'avant et 1 à l'arrière, cette dernière servant probablement au déchargement des marchandises. Dans le complexe Q, on est d'abord surpris de la diversité des divisions internes de la douzaine d'unités d'habitation. Un sondage sous le sol récent de l'unité Q2 nous a par ailleurs apporté la confirmation que ce complexe a été érigé au plus tôt à la fin du premier quart du 5e siècle avant notre ère. En Q3, la division interne de l'unité comporte 2 petites pièces à l'avant, contrairement à Q1 où elles sont à l'arrière. L'une d'elles contenait d'ailleurs plusieurs petits objets d'intérêt en bronze ou en verre, fragments denses, cols de nokoï miniatures, perles de collier, phallus en bronze, etc., ainsi qu'une quinzaine de monnaies, dont 2 en argent. La fouille s'est aussi poursuivie dans les 2 unités dites tripartites, Q5 et Q6. les seules unités du complexe Q qui soient plus larges que profondes. Q6 est la plus intéressante des deux. Dans la pièce avant, oblongue, la partie est comporte un réduit contenant une baignoire dont plusieurs fragments ont été trouvés. À l'autre extrémité, plusieurs fragments d'amphores de transport et de vases culinaires jonchaient le sol. Les sols des pièces arrière étaient recouverts d'une importante couche de tuiles, surtout la pièce ouest. Celle-ci comprend d'ailleurs une séparation à l'arrière dont on imagine qu'elle pouvait contenir un escalier pour mener à l'étage. Cette hypothèse reste à confirmer. La pièce à l'est contenait peu de matériel, sauf à l'angle nord-ouest, où les vestiges d'une structure comportant 2 grosses briques d'argile posées près d'une grande lécanée et d'un autre vase de grande taille, probablement une jatte, ont été trouvés dans les derniers jours de fouilles. La qualité du seuil et des jambages de porte de cette pièce laisse penser qu'il pourrait s'agir de l'andron. Enfin, plus à l'est, une équipe a poursuivi la fouille de la partie avant de l'unité Q9. Un grand nombre d'objets, pêle-mêle, ont été trouvés dans cette partie. Meules en lintienne, amphores de transport, restes de baignoire, pieds de large pitos remployés et autres matériels. À l'arrière du bâtiment Q, la zone de fouille était interrompue par une très importante accumulation de terre, haute de plus de 4 mètres, provenant de la pente de la colline et qui s'est accumulée au cours des siècles. Cette accumulation de terre pouvait représenter un danger pour les fouilleurs et nous avons décidé de l'enlever. Pour le moment, une première bande d'une dizaine de mètres de large a été fouillée, révélant, bien entendu, de nouveaux vestiges archéologiques appartenant à un autre complexe que nous avons appelé S, parallèle au complexe Q et séparé de ce dernier par une rue. À l'est, on distingue les restes de 2 bâtiments ou de 2 pièces d'un même bâtiment, érigés parallèlement à la rue principale de la cité. Cette structure est bordée par une rue plus étroite, orientée plus ou moins sud-est-nord-ouest, puis d'un espace non défini, et ensuite par un ensemble d'unités construites selon les mêmes principes que ceux du bâtiment Q. Les murs de 3 unités, une tripartite et 2 rectangulaires, ont été partiellement dégagés. Nous quittons maintenant le secteur Koutloudis et montons au plateau Angelopoulos, où le principal objectif des recherches était de trouver une rue qui permettrait de relier les vestiges mis au jour sur l'acropole avec ceux des secteurs sud-est et Koutloudis. Les résultats ont été concluants, car une voie d'accès a effectivement été découverte dans le sondage au nord du plateau. La rue est en excellent état, faite de gros moellons et orientée nord-nord-ouest, sud-sud-est. De chaque côté, la présence de seuils marque l'entrée de bâtiments. Tout le matériel trouvé indique une destruction du secteur au milieu du IVe siècle avant notre ère. Les résultats obtenus sont très encourageants et nous permettront, assez rapidement je crois, de relier tous les secteurs de la fouille par des rues antiques de la cité, rendant ainsi le site plus facilement accessible au public. En parallèle de la fouille, plusieurs recherches connexes sont en cours. L'impact de la fondation d'Amphipolis sur l'économie d'Argylos, de 437 à 357 avant notre ère, fait l'objet d'une étude de Frédéric Lemire qui se concentre sur l'analyse des contextes stratigraphiques du grand bâtiment commercial L qui sont datés de la seconde moitié du 5e siècle avant notre ère. L'étude de Laure Sarah Étier sur la réoccupation d'Argylos après Philippe II se poursuit par l'analyse du mobilier associé à l'Archontico d'Argylos et les installations environnantes sur l'acropole. Les résultats préliminaires indiquent une occupation de cette installation agraire jusqu'à la conquête romaine en 168 avant notre ère. Les recherches sur les objets de bronze d'Argylos ont également progressé. Justine Lefebvre a entrepris des analyses métallographiques et Paris CPMS à l'École polytechnique de l'Université de Montréal à partir de prélèvements provenant de quelques centaines d'artefacts. Ces analyses permettent de comprendre les méthodes de fabrication des objets et de déterminer la provenance des minerais. Parallèlement à l'étude de Katerina Chrysanthaki-Nagy sur les monnaies trouvées à Argylos, je rappelle qu'à lui seul, le bâtiment L a livré plus de 1000 monnaies de bronze et d'argent. Laurent Chevary a entrepris l'étude des monnaies fourrées, ces fausses monnaies étant relativement nombreuses. Enfin, notre équipe d'archéologie environnementale, Shelby Viara a avancé ses études sur la gestion de l'eau à Argilos, alors que Angelos Grotsinas, Rudi Alagish et Evgenia Gadzoya ont poursuivi leurs recherches sur les pratiques agricoles, les cultures et le régime alimentaire des Argiliens. Plusieurs opérations ont été réalisées. Analyse isotopique des ossements d'animaux afin d'examiner leur régime alimentaire. Localisation, enregistrement et échantillonnage des sources d'eau naturelles dans les environs d'Argilos. Analyse isotopique des restes archéobotaniques pour établir les pratiques de fumure et d'irrigation des agriculteurs d'Argilos. Programme d'analyse des composés organiques, les acides gras, présents dans la matrice céramique des vases de cuisson. Enfin, le volume 4 de la série Argilos est en cours de publication. L'étude de Kevin Wallet porte sur les fortifications en Grèce du Nord aux époques archaïques, classiques et hellénistiques. Mesdames, Messieurs, κυρίες και κύριοι, φίλοι, συνάδελφοι, merci, ευχαριστώ πολύ.